Hello you fantastic people, Panda here and welcome back to Dead by Daylight, and today we have some great news. We have the info on the next chapter. They did the dev stream yesterday and they went over the stuff, and I can tell you today we're going to be talking about the Demogorgon, the Demogorgon's abilities, the Demogorgon's perks, and also Nancy and Steve's perks. That's right, we're getting 9 perks with this chapter, 6 survivor perks and 3 killer perks. We're also going to be taking a look at some of the clips that they showed of the new map, which looks absolutely fantastic by the way. So first of all, we see some concept art here of what they wanted the new hooks to look like. We can see the new hooks are going to be very gory, very bloody. They're going to be like a very solid organic object on the new Hawkins map. And also some interiors of the new map, and it's honestly looking very, very beautiful. It looks nice, it looks dark-ish, some of it at least, and it's enclosed and indoors. Now getting on to the Demogorgon, the new killer. Let's go and have a look at the ability and how this killer is going to actually differ from other killers and their ability to chase down survivors and kill them. Now the Demogorgon has 2 main abilities. The first one is a tunnel ability, and do not worry, it's not a perk that helps you knocking down people straight off the hook. This is instead placing portals down on the ground and then being able to use these portals to traverse around the map. As the Demogorgon moves around the map, they can place down portals wherever they want, and then when standing on top of a portal, they can see all of the other portals highlighted in a similar way to the Freddy generators, and then you can choose which portal you want to teleport to. And when the Demogorgon does use a portal and travels between the two of them, it actually loses its vision of the actual world, and you basically tunnel underneath the world. Everything goes black. The only thing that you can see is generators, and you will zoom across and pop out at the other end of the map where you placed your portal. Now, because we've not seen the in-game UI for this stuff, we do not know how many portals the Demogorgon can put down, how often they can put them down, and also if there's a cooldown incurred after taking a teleport. But we do know that the survivors will be able to cleanse these portals. We can see here Nancy closing a portal, which seems to take an incredibly long time, but this is going to be essential to the counterplay to the Demogorgon to be able to stop it traversing around the map and actually having such good pressure. Also, survivors that are closing portals lose their ability to hear the terror radius of the killer, and also it reveals their location to the Demogorgon. Alongside the portal ability, the Demogorgon also has an attacking aggressive ability. This allows the killer to take a pounce a short distance ahead, but it cannot steer while doing so, and afterwards it'll be stuck in place to roar for a short period of time. So this gives the killer a little bit of potential in a chase to be able to close that distance when you've got a straight line between you and the survivor. However, if you miss, you're probably still going to do the roar animation, so you're going to waste your time. So definitely be careful when using this ability and make sure you use it effectively. Now, before we get into the perks, which I'm sure you're interested in, we have the designer notes that they're talking about for this new chapter and the changes we're actually going to be seeing into the game. And this includes BLOODWEB changes and also 2 new status effects. So first, the BLOODWEB, and like a lot of players actually concluded, they are going to be changing them in a quite satisfying way. Now, the BLOODWEBs leveling from 1 to 39 are going to be absolutely unchanged. They're going to be the same as we have right now. But from 40 to 49, there will be 3 perks on each BLOODWEB, and you'll be possible to be able to buy 2 of them. With the new webs, the entity will also work in the same way, so as soon as you take 1 perk, the entity will buy a 2nd perk, and then it'll be a race between you and the entity to try and get to that 3rd perk if you want to purchase it. And even better than that, at level 50, when your character's fully leveled, there will be 4 perks on each BLOODWEB, and up to 2 of them can be purchased. So this is going to massively reduce the grind. If we look at survivor side, there are 65 perks, which means there are 195 ranks of those perks out there. You also start with your basic 3 perks, and also after the first 39 levels, that's 42 perks that you'll have, leaving 153 levels past level 39 that you need to level to be able to get fully perked out. Well, on the new system, once you reach 40, you're only going to have to do 76 webs instead of 153 webs. That is a just massive reduction. And similarly, over on Killer, we have 60 perks on Killer. Of course, that means that you're going to be able to get 42 of them by the time you get to level 39, and that's going to mean that you've got 138 webs to complete afterwards. But in the new system, that will only be 69 webs once you've reached level 40. So really, this is absolutely crazy, and it's going to change the grind for a lot of people and should hopefully make it a lot more accessible for a new player to get into the game and actually get the perks that they want. So also in the next chapter, we're going to see 2 new status effects in the game. We're going to see 1 for Killer and 1 for Survivor, and the Killer one is basically a way for them to bundle all of the Killer stealth abilities and invisibility into one and just make it concise and easy to figure out. We have Undetectable. When a killer is undetectable, the killer's terror radius is removed, the red stain is also removed, the killer cannot have their aura revealed, the killer does not trigger the jump scare sound effect when moving after being still, and the killer will see the smoky screen visual effect to let them know that they are undetectable. And over on Survivor side, this is the status effect that's going to be affecting you when you cleanse a Demogorgon portal. It is oblivious. When a survivor is oblivious, the following effects are applied. The survivor does not hear the killer's terror radius, and the survivor is not affected by any effects that are conditional to being inside of a terror radius. So this means that unnerving presence, overwhelming presence, coulrophobia, and perks like that will not activate when you are in this oblivious mode. So this next patch is looking to be absolutely massive. Like, the actual scope of what they're doing here is gigantic. And let's jump onto the interesting bit. Let's get onto the perks of all of these new characters. Our first killer perk is called Surge. Putting a survivor into the dying state with a basic attack causes all generators within 32 meters to instantly explode and regress. This also applies an instant regression of 12% to the generators, and this ability can only be activated every 40 seconds. Now, I'm unsure if this would apply other effects, such as overcharge. If you've got overcharge on and you knock a survivor down and it kicks all the generators near you, do those generators then get overcharge on them as well? I don't know, probably not, let's face it. I personally think this is a great perk because it just gives you that power. When you knock someone down and you know they're on a generator, even if they're about to complete a generator, it will knock it back 12% and then give you that ability to go back to the gen and stop the other person from finishing it off. Whereas usually they would just finish the generator off and you wouldn't have anything to do for it. Our second perk is Cruel Confinement. Every time a generator is completed, all windows and vaults within 32 meters become blocked by the entity for 35 seconds. Additionally, the killer can also see the auras of all the vault locations that have been blocked off by Cruel Confinement. On maps like Lurie's, this is going to block off a hell of a lot of different things and escape routes for the survivors, and it's going to channel them through a very set path. Not really sure quite how well this perk is actually going to work. It can only maximum go off 5 times per game, right? But each time it goes off, it's up for 35 seconds, which is a very long duration. I definitely think on certain maps, this could be absolutely insane. On maps where there's a big, large building in the middle of it, and when they complete it, it locks off all of those windows. That's going to give you a great opportunity to actually chase people down. And if they're not vaulting through windows, you're going to be able to hit them, you're going to be able to chase them, and you're going to be able to catch up with them. And our third killer perk is MINDBREAKER. While repairing generators with less than 50%, survivors are going to be affected by exhaustion. And what can we take from this? Well, it's a little bit confusing, but essentially, while you're working on a generator that's less than 50%, it counts as if you are holding shift and you are sprinting around. That means that your exhaustion timer will not tick down. You will not be able to actually refresh that while working on a generator that's under 50%. And once you leave that generator, you're also still going to be affected by that for 3 seconds. This means that people working on a generator with sprint burst and you come over there, they're not going to be able to just sprint burst away from you. They're going to have to wait 3 seconds before they're actually going to be able to activate that sprint burst and put that gap between you and the killer. Now, is this a good perk or is this not a good perk? I honestly can't really tell without testing it out and playing with it, but in theory, it should be interesting and it should stop a lot of survivors actually regenning their exhaustion throughout the match. If they're constantly attached to new generators, then they're not going to be regenning their exhaustion, and they're not going to have that dead hard, lithe, bounce landing, or sprint burst ready when you go and attack them. And now moving over to our survivor perks, which of course we've got 6 of. We have 3 for Steve and we have 3 for Nancy. Starting with Steve's perks, we have a Babysitter. Whenever you unhook a survivor, the unhooked person does not leave any scratch marks or blood for 8 seconds, giving them a great opportunity to actually run away and try and stay safe without the killer coming straight over and knocking them down, making it so the killer can't really track them once they've been unhooked. And also, additionally, the person who does the unhooking will see the killer's aura for 4 seconds, and the killer will be able to see their aura also for 4 seconds. So this perk is really trying to take the heat for the hook survivor, let them get away, and also try and draw the killer towards you. But I also feel like Make Your Choice is going to counter this massively. If you unhook and then you have Make Your Choice and the killer can see where you are for 4 seconds, well, the killer's probably going to come over there and they're going to hunt you down and knock you straight down to the ground with Exposed. Our second Steve perk is Second Wind. After healing 1 full health state on another survivor, the perk will activate. The next time you are unhooked or unhook yourself, you are affected by the broken status effect. And if you can manage to get out of the killer's heartbeat radius for 20 seconds, your health will slowly regenerate. You'll see a bar going up on your health, and when it reaches 100%, you will come out of broken and you'll be fully healed. So another altruistic perk here that's going to help out people who are actually going around and helping out their teammates. If you can get unhooked and run away out of the killer's terror radius and just sit there, do a generator and heal yourself, that is insanely powerful. It's even faster, 20 seconds, than sitting there and self-caring yourself, and you don't require another survivor to actually heal you. It says the perk deactivates once you are fully healed or if you get downed before the healing is completed, but it doesn't really specify if it will reactivate if you heal again. Definitely a hype perk, and it's going to change the way that certain people play the game. And for Steve's third perk, we have Camaraderie. Now this perk can only be activated once per match when you're in the struggle phase on the hook, and if another survivor comes within 16 meters of you, it will pause that struggle phase for 14 seconds, buying you an extra 14 seconds up on the hook. And this will be indicated to the survivors on your hook progression because it will flash, letting them know that you've bought them some extra time up on the hook. That's definitely the dud perk out of these 3 perks for Steve. And let's move over to Nancy's perks here. Our first Nancy perk is Better Together. While working on a generator, the aura of that generator will be visible to all survivors within 32 meters of you, meaning that they know that you're working on it and they can come over there and help you out. This will be great with Prove Thyself because it really just lets people know, get over here, let's work on this generator, let's get it completed. And if the killer downs a survivor while you're repairing a generator, you'll see the aura of all other survivors for 10 seconds. This strikes me as a really quite powerful perk for just gen rushing and getting generators completed. It's adding more auras and more knowledge to the game to try and help the survivors coordinate better. Although I'm not entirely sure what the point of being able to see the survivors' auras after a killer knocks someone down, but it is going to at least let you be able to find a survivor and go and work on a gen with them, or find a survivor and go and heal them. And our second Nancy perk is a perk called Fixated, and it's actually a perk that I suggested a good year ago, and I'm happy to see it's finally in the game. Fixated for the first time lets survivors see their own scratch marks in the game, and additionally, if you are uninjured, you can walk 20% faster than normal. First of all, that walking thing is absolutely insane. That is going to change so much in the game. No longer urban evasion is really going to be king. I think that Fixated is going to be king because you're going to be able to walk around objects and stay out of line of sight of the killer much more effectively, well, 20% more effectively while using this perk. And also the potential mind games that arise from being able to see your own scratch marks let you know which way the killer's going to think that you went by actually judging your scratch marks and kind of figuring out what the killer would think and which way they would go. This is, in my opinion, a very, very, very strong mind game perk for the survivors. And our third Nancy perk and our final perk for this chapter is Inner Strength. Now this perk absolutely blows my mind. Honestly, Dwights around the world are going to be rejoicing at this. Every time you cleanse a totem, and it doesn't have to be a hex totem, just any totem around the map, this perk will activate. And while Inner Strength is active, hiding inside a locker for 8 seconds fully heals you.
Holy shit!
Now, of course, because there are only 5 totems on each match, this can only be activated potentially 5 times throughout the game if every single person had this perk on. But let's face it, at the start of a game, it's not too hard to find a totem. If you go and find a totem and just cleanse it really early, at some point later in the game, if you're able to escape the killer or take a hit and then go and get into locker, for 8 seconds, you will walk out fully healed. Now, this is of course going to probably inspire killers to use Iron Maiden a bit more, but really, as far as I'm concerned, this perk, I don't play that much Survivor, but as a killer, this perk scares the crap out of me. And it will also give survivors a lot more incentive to actually go and cleanse totems, which will also in turn give No One Escapes Death a lot less power. Because survivors are going to be incentivized to actually go around and cleanse totems throughout the match, when it gets to the end and NOED could activate, it's very likely that all the totems will probably already have been cleansed by hungry survivors looking to activate Inner Strength. So for all the people out there who are always complaining about NOED, here you go. Here is a little bit of a counter to that perk. And then also, we've seen all of these different clips where we've seen the different map and we've seen the Demogorgon going around. The new map looks absolutely beautiful. It's quite bright. It's not as dark as I would like it, but it has some interesting scenery effects. We also see here that there's a little parkour section where you can jump onto a little ledge, and it seems to have at least 2 levels. So like the game map, we've got separate levels. It could also have 3 levels from the clips that I've seen here, but I'm not entirely sure. But the map looks cool, and I'm really, really excited to see how this chapter is going to play out. In my opinion, the PTB is going to be coming up next week on Tuesday, so I'll be making videos on all of that as soon as it comes out, and I hope you'll come back and join me. If you've enjoyed this video and you like my content and like DBD, please do leave a like, please do subscribe, and check the playlist in the description to see more content from me. Have a fantastic day and stay safe out there. Panda out.